Hi, and welcome to Crit Hit Wild, where we talk about all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about War Machine, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
How's everybody doing today? How are you doing today, Steven?
Oh, pretty good, actually. Just had a little fun this weekend revisiting the Tomb Raider um, video game franchise.
Oh, really? Which one were you playing?
I'm playing the first of the trilogy ones.
The more recent trilogy?
Yeah, 2013, yeah.
Yeah. I think those were all very good. I think they were
Yep.
quite excellent games. Brandon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I won a Star Wars tournament, which means I beat Brad.
Oh, nice. Well, Brad, how are you doing today?
I'm very tired.
Well, congratulations, Brandon.
It's always good when you can beat Brad.
Vampire last night, and we were up till very late in the morning. But we're here and we're ready to talk about War Machine. Speaking of which, did you guys notice? Did you hear that Steamforged Games bought Privateer Press?
No, Fred, tell me all about it.
So, Steamforged Games, the company that started the Guild Ball game, the game Guild Ball, purchased Privateer Press, the company that owns War Machine, the tabletop game, and they are now the custodians of that IP. I don't know what to think here. Steamforged Games has a very bad habit of dropping games they're not interested in. I used to play War Machine very religiously. I used to play it quite a bit, and I have very many models for it. If I were a War Machine player and I heard about this, I would be nervous. You know, like this is something that I was thinking that War Machine was doing very well as a tabletop game. Like it's still happening. There are plenty of people who still play it. It's this just seemed
Here's
to have.
here's
Go
what
ahead. Go ahead.
worries me. Steamforge made a big deal in their post about this, about how they acquired the game so that they can uh, make sure the game gets in the stores and gets distributed where it needs to go for the game to grow. But they're like really bad at that. Like
Yeah,
really bad.
you could never get the Guild Ball team you wanted. You could never get
No.
it.
And like things haven't got better. They brought back Guild Ball. Guild Ball is not in stores. You can
Right.
only order models through their website.
I don't know about this is the consolidation of tabletop games, and I don't like it. I don't like it. It's been happening a lot. I want healthy
And then
competition. I don't want one company.
and also like I was pretty excited for Guild Ball to come back, but now like they're taking on a lot of stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
that Guild Ball's going to be the priority that I kind of hoped it would be.
Right. This is right after they say they're bringing back Guild Ball too. Like this is just a crazy thing that has happened.
One dead game buying another dead game.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This is Brandon's last episode of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed his presence.
I'm a man of the people.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. It's something that's been on my mind recently. Um, let's talk about. Does anyone have anything else they want to say on the subject? I didn't mean to bulldoze over anyone. I will take that raucous silence as you are done on the subject. Let's talk about upcoming tournaments. On the 15th of this month, that is 15th of June, there is a tournament at South Charleston at Lost Legion Games and Comics. and it is just going to be a relatively small affair. But come down if you want to have some fun. It's just going to be a fun little tournament. I plan on attending. I don't know who else will be, but I'll be there. Assuming that Brad will be there too.
I'll be
So,
there.
yeah. So come on down. Have some fun. It's going to be
Have
a
I
low pressure tournament.
have I posted the Longshanks for that?
I don't know the answer to that.
You have not.
I need to do that.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, on Saturday the 29th of June, there is a tournament at Sweets and Geeks in Medina, Ohio. That's
Yeah.
excuse me. That's going to be a pretty fun. Steven, do you know any more about the event?
Team tournament. And you're going to play between the two people. They'll have 14 characters, all unique, of course. And then when you are playing the game, you will have access to 6 tactics cards, 3 for each player. And obviously, your secures and your crisis are what you bring also. And it's like the Adepticon team tournament where one person brings a higher point value, one brings a lower, and each whatever the crisis is, you take that number that um, the person states and then add 4 to it. So
Huh. Oh wow, interesting. I like that. That sounds like it's going to be a pretty fun event.
yeah,
So if
so you're 19 to 24 in your threat value when you place characters on the table.
cool, interesting. All right. Well, and on that same day, there is a tournament in Pittsburgh at Fabricators Forge. If you are in the vicinity of either one of those locations, then head on over and play some games. I want to get more people playing games this season. We got to get geared up for the BECC. Speaking of the BECC, there's actually one in between. Never mind. On the 13th of July, this is not BECC news. There is a tournament at CharCon in Charleston. That is the CharCon event. It's a small little convention that happens in Charleston every year, and there is going to be a tournament during that event. Hopefully, there's going to be a lot of people. I'm hoping people who are interested in the game show up. Anyway, CharCon's a pretty neat little thing, even if you don't play in the tournament. So people should come down. Then on the 20th of July is the BECC in the Guard Tower West in Columbus, Ohio. I'm going. I now think they've expanded. I now think that is everyone on the podcast going?
No, not me.
Oh, not Steven. Not Steven, sorry. But myself, Brad, and Brandon are going to Columbus for the BECC in the Guard Tower West. So I'm pretty sure that it's sold out again. Like even with the expanded
It did.
space. Yeah. So, oh well. Better luck next time. Everyone who wanted to come and
Get
who
on
hasn't signed up.
the wait list in case people drop.
Yeah. Yeah. And then later on August the 2nd is the Salt Lake Open, or I should say the first day of the Salt Lake Open grand tournament in Salt Lake City, Utah. So if you are in the Four Corners area, you should head there. It's going to be a huge event. It's going to be fun, I bet. I wish that I could go, but I unfortunately cannot. All right, well, that's it for the tournaments that I have listed coming up. I don't there. So for AMG news, there's not a whole lot. They put the pre-orders for the terrain for the Asgardian specific terrain pieces and for the 4 new Asgardians. I believe they're coming out in August.
August 2nd.
It's August 2nd, same time as the Salt Lake Open. We have no other information. I wish they gave us some information. They did not give us a new character to talk about. That's why we're talking about War Machine today. But, oh well, we're going to soldier on with our paucity of knowledge. Okay, well, I've talked way too much. Let's do you guys want to do a recalibration matrix?
No, but yes.
Okay. Well, for those of you out there who don't know, when they make changes to characters sometimes, or sometimes we just don't take into effect how the meta is going to shift around certain characters, or sometimes we're just plain wrong. And when that occurs, we like to go into the recalibration matrix and change our scores on characters we've already done. This week, we're going to be talking about Cable. So when we first did Cable, Cable was a middling 5-point leader for the X-Force faction, which was a middling faction. Let's be honest. No offense, Brad, but they were. Back in the day.
Hey, I take offense to that. I don't even think they were middling.
You think they were below middle?
They were one of the worst factions in the game.
Yeah.
This has changed. It has everything about what I just said has changed. Cable got errated. The erratas weren't even that enormous, but he got it made him much more functional on the battlefield, and X-Force as a whole got better. It got access to new models that are really cool, and yeah, I just think that everything about what we talked about is now obsolete. So let's talk about new Cable. Steven, do you have what changed readily available? Like what the exact changes were?
Okay, so yeah, I do. I have the old card and the new card. So the first thing that we have is that Cable was originally a 6-7 health, 6 on his healthy side, 7 on his injured side. He is now a 7-7. But every other stat in that block did not change for his physical, energy, and mystic size and everything. So he got 1 more health. Also, his plasma rifle changed somewhat. It is still gives incinerate on a wild, still gets power equal to damage dealt. But in addition, if the target is within 3, this character may reroll up to 2 dice in the attack roll. So that's pretty big for him. Also, his leadership, Wet Works affiliation, X-Force did change. Previously, you may an allied character may reroll 1 die in their attack rolls once per turn. That still is worded on the card is a new card the same way, except they may modify skull results on that reroll. And then if they do use this reroll, if the enemy character is within 3, the enemy character does not benefit from cover during this attack. And then last but not least, the other change that he had is on his injured side. His spender attack, Ascani-san, if you rolled a wild and a hit, the character would suffer the stagger condition. But on his new updated version, that line is no longer on the card. And considering how much text he has on his card now in its portrait format, the sideways format instead of the up and down, they probably took that out so that they could put everything else on the card. I imagine. So, well, those are the changes.
There was a slight nerf, but he was mostly buffed by all of that. I mean, I guess it's possible to get that off. It's when you're wounded for the thing that he lost, the stagger on Ascani's son. But that's not ever the circumstance you want to be in. You want to be, if you're playing Cable, you want to be within range 3 of your target and get those 2 reroll dice. Hey, Brad, you've played a lot of Cable.
A little bit,
Why
yeah.
don't you tell us about what Cable's change has felt like to you?
So despite the his leadership not changing much, being able to reroll a skull is pretty important. But the big thing is that he puts out way more output. The reroll 2 within 3 is amazing. He regularly takes down a Hulk all by himself. And that's really the big change. Also, having more health helps him a lot too. But
Yeah. I think the changes seem relatively minor when you just lay them all out like that. But the damage output increase. He was already someone who could put out a lot of damage. I mean, range 5 dice that causes incinerate doesn't sound a whole lot, but if you imagine he's doing that twice a turn every turn. And the fact that now he gets 2 rerolls on it if they're close enough, which range 3 is still pretty far away. That's a pretty good
he
range.
almost all the attacks I make with him are within range 3.
Yeah. So he's doing a lot more damage on the battlefield. And he gets to reroll he gets to reroll a skull with his leadership if you're playing under the X-Force leadership. I think he's substantially better. Just the whole math of him works better now. The way that he is. Hey Brandon, you haven't had a chance to talk much on Cable.
And nobody's mentioned the best thing that happened to Cable.
What's that?
They released Psylocke and Bishop.
Yeah, Psylocke helps a lot. Bishop, I don't know. Bishop's iffy. He can be good, but he can also just freaking die.
It was a perfect storm for X-Force because this errata happened in between the release of Psylocke and Bishop.
Oh,
I think you were
Deadpool got updated too.
Yeah,
That's true. Deadpool got better too.
and then Deadpool got changed, and they did not change Domino, which was a positive for the world for anyone playing X-Force. Unfortunately,
She got a nerf. She got a nerf anyway because of Malekith.
Yeah, they got a nerf because they were doing something that should not have been okay.
No, it was fine when she did it.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't. But no, Cable, it's good. I mean, it's like the Black Bolt situation. Like the model's really good, and the difference is that the X-Force models are also really good versus Inhumans being really bad.
Yeah.
So you kind of it's the thing. So if you are holding out hope for Black Bolt, you can look at X-Force and realize that you could be 1 or 2 boxes away from a drastic change in your affiliation's playability.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've really nailed the biggest part of the shift with Cable is that he now has access to a rockin' roster of guys who are under his leadership. I mean, you're right. Bishop and Psylocke were huge for Cable. That's exactly, I think, one of the reasons why Cable feels so good now. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before we give him an updated letter grade?
I will say he is the second best Avenger behind Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, he's affiliated with Avengers.
You think he's better than First Avenger?
Yeah, by a lot. Since Voodoo got knocked down, if you just take a look at the Avengers roster, there's no reason why you wouldn't take him.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, he's just eminently useful on the battlefield.
One of the best throws in the game, right?
That's true.
Yeah, he does. He has a fantastic throw as well. All right. Let's give him an updated letter grade. He got a lot better. I'm gonna give him a solid A. Oh, am I gonna give him an A minus? No, I'm gonna give him an A. I think he's an A quality model. That's where I'm at. Brad, do you want to go next? Seeing as
Sure,
how you have
I
more
agree. I
experience.
think he's an A.
Okay, Steven, what you got for old Cable?
I'm gonna go B plus.
B plus. Okay.
Mm.
And Brandon, what you got?
A minus.
Yeah, well, I think that we were down in the C's for him the last time we did. C's or low B's.
And I think Brad brought that up.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, that's he got a lot better. That's the long and short of it. And that was our recalibration matrix. Brad, do you have a game to make fun of me for how little I know about comic book trivia?
I sure do, but I need just 1 second if you want to talk to one of the others.
Okay. All right. Well,
I can talk about my disdain for the fact that in the last 2 weeks we've gotten 2 new model releases. In Silver Sable 2 weeks ago, and last week Black Panther Chosen of Bast, and then this week,
Crickets.
just nothing.
Crickets.
Just nothing. They get to the point where the 2 models I've been looking forward to for so long are right there, and they're ready for the world, and they just hate me
No,
so
Brandon.
much.
Brandon, they don't hate you.
They do.
They knew I was going to be out of town. Would not be able to update Cerebro. And so they decided not to release a new model.
That would make me feel better than whatever reason they have for not releasing one.
they're edging you.
I don't know
Doing
how
this
they
in-
could have possibly known that I was going to be out of town, but that's what happened. Okay, Fred.
Yes.
Trivia. So here's how this
Okay.
game works. I'm going to give Fred a piece of trivia about a Marvel Crisis Protocol character, but the trivia is from their comic experiences. He gets 4 points if he gets it right. If he does not get it right, I will read him a hint. If he gets it right after the hint, he gets 3 points. After that, Brandon gets a chance to guess at the answer to earn himself 2 points. And after that, Steven gets to answer the question to give Brandon 1 point.
What is happening?
I get no points.
No, you can't get points, Steven. Not this week. So, once again, Fred can earn 4 or 3. Brandon can earn himself 2, or Steven can earn Brandon a point. Fred needs 7 points to win. But he can only use his own points.
Oh boy, this is getting way too complicated.
I'm just kidding. They're all a team together. They need 7 points to win.
We only get one question.
There will be 3 of these. Fred, do you have any questions? Great. This character has traditionally been more of a teacher than an active superhero in comics. His students have gone on to be both villains and heroes. However, he does not have a school. It's very hard to find him, and even harder to get him to teach you.
Well, so my knee jerk was Professor X.
I know
Then
it was.
You said he doesn't have a school, and now I'm much less certain of that. It's not gonna be. Stick doesn't exist in this game. Who does not have a school, who teaches a lot of people, and the people he teaches become villains or heroes? Oh no. I have no clue I'm just gonna say Daredevil, which is wrong.
You're right. That is incorrect. Your
Okay.
hint. This character protected the Marvel Universe against those trying to take over from other dimensions. He had collected several artifacts to help with this that he passed on to his best student, who now protects the Marvel Universe the same way.
Okay. Is it Ancient One?
That is correct. 3 points for Fred.
Okay. I'm used to thinking of Ancient One as being Tilda Swinton, but in the comic books, the Ancient One is male, correct?
Correct. That was
Yeah.
part of the trick of that question. Because I usually leave them fairly gender neutral to make it a little bit harder, but really stress that he in there to trick you up.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. The niece of a major Marvel villain, she has fought on the side of good and even married one of the protectors of Earth, a man that fights her uncle regularly.
Oh gosh, the niece of a villain. She is sided with good and married a person who fights her uncle regularly.
Yeah. And this has absolutely been talked about on the show.
I'm sure. I have no memory of this one. Does Magneto have a niece? Is there a famous niece of Magneto? Is it Shadowcat? No. I'm gonna guess Shadowcat, and that's wrong.
That is wrong.
Okay.
She is a sorceress of great ability, and she took over her late ex-husband's job after he was mysteriously murdered. A version of her late ex-husband from earlier in his career helped solve his murder case.
Is it Emma Frost?
It is not Emma Frost.
Okay.
Okay. Brandon, do you know who this is?
Is Brandon looking at a list of active Marvel Crisis Protocol characters?
The thing we
No,
told him not to do.
I'm cleaning. What was the first hint? Is they married someone who regularly fights her uncle,
Her evil uncle.
evil uncle. Magic.
That is incorrect.
All I got, guys. Sorry.
Magic has an evil brother, not an evil uncle.
Damn it.
Colossus isn't evil.
No, they
Wait,
have
is
they have another brother, Mikkel.
Oh, okay.
Steven, do you know who this is?
I'm thinking it might be Clea.
That is correct. So, if I'm adding this up correctly, 3 plus 1 is 4 points so far. So, Fred, you got to get this one right.
Well, I need to get it right on the hint.
On the hint, yeah. But you got to get it right. You can't leave it up to Brandon or Steven. This character was originally supposed to lead his country's version of the Avengers, but quit to flee to another country and join a different team.
Oh boy, it's the Oh God, what's the guy's name? Who's the Russian Iron Man? He's the head of the Winter Guard. Is it? Why can I not think of his name?
You can give his real name if you'd prefer.
Red Dynamo, something Dynamo. What is the name? Is it Scarlet Dynamo? Why can I not think of this guy's name?
Wrong shade of red.
What?
That was the wrong shade of red. He's not Scarlet.
You know who I'm talking about.
Crimson Dynamo.
Crimson Dynamo. Okay.
Crimson Dynamo is incorrect.
Okay.
Hint. He was experimented on, surviving a process that killed everyone else they tried it on. That process was later undone by a villain, leading to this character losing his nose. He underwent the original procedure again, even though he barely survived it the first time.
Oh no. Loses his nose and undergoes the procedure again. I was thinking Logan at first, but I don't think that's right. I don't because if he lost his nose, he would just grow it back, right? Whatever. I feel like I'm further away from it this time. Is it Logan?
It is.
It is Logan?
Yes.
Okay.
So he's after his adamantium is ripped out by Magneto, he starts reverting to a more primitive simian type human and does not have a prominent nose. Like it becomes flat. And then
Weird.
after he gets the adamantium put back in, he's normal again.
Okay. So he doesn't like it's not like syphilis. His nose doesn't fall off.
No, it didn't fall off. He like reverts because his healing factor, who had to fight against the adamantium poisoning for so long, and becomes so hypercharged that it's healing him too much and reverting his genes to an earlier version of humans.
Oh wow.
Okay.
What are we doing here with these comic books?
So Fred has managed to get to 6 points on his own and 1 point from Steven. So all that's left is the bonus question, which is worth 0 points today. Are you ready, Fred?
Yeah.
What do these characters have in common?
Okay. So we've got Ancient One, we've got Clea, and we've got Logan. What do these characters have in common? Logan would hate to fight against the other two in the game because they were mystic and he hates mystic attacks. I don't know. What do they have in common? They're definitely not all convocation.
You don't think Logan's convocation?
I said they definitely not. I don't know. I have no idea.
You kill me sometimes, Fred.
What is it, Brandon?
Unless he makes up something stupid, they're all defenders.
They are all defenders.
I had no idea that Clea or Ancient One were defenders. I had no idea.
I tried to make it hard, but Brandon knows his defenders.
Defenders has so many people in it.
It does. It has a lot of people. And it's going to get a couple more.
Got confirmed at least one more. Should be 3. I guess they could technically put Silver Sable in. Did they say Silver Sable's stuff in the thing?
They did. Oh, I don't know. I don't read the articles anymore.
I think it does. Like, she's in the Defenders.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I really should read the articles.
Until it's official, we really don't know.
Yeah, they've definitely made mistakes before. Like, they said Logan was not an X-Man.
But didn't AMG say that they're having a policy now where they're coming out with boxes that
share a affiliation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the trivia game, and our side won, which is good.
You
the
did
good
not
guys
win last
won
week
against the villain.
Oh, it's that way, is it, Fred?
There's a team of good guys, and there's a villain, and the good guys won. All right. Is there anything else that we need to cover before we go over the character that we're here to cover today? I don't think that there is. I think that we're ready to go. So today we're here to cover War Machine, otherwise known as James Rhodes, He has 5 stamina on both sides of his card. His movement speed medium. Size 2, he has a threat value of 3, and his defensive stats are 4 physical, 3 energy, and 3 mystic. All right. Hey, Brad, why don't you do the first 2 of his attacks?
Okay, his first attack is physical. It's a beam 3 5 dice attack for 0 cost. It gains power equal to damage dealt and has wild bleed. His second attack is also physical, range 4 4 dice, also costs 0, and it has a special ability called Barrage. After this attack is resolved, this character may make an additional Rocket Pods attack. This attack must target another character within 2 of the original character. This additional attack does not have the Barrage special rule.
Okay, Brandon, why don't you read the last attack?
I do not have the card pulled up. I'm so sorry.
Steven, why don't you read the rest of the card?
We have Empty the Clip. It is a physical attack. Range of 3, strength of 8, will cost you 4 power. When rolling additional dice for critical results during this attack, roll 2 additional dice instead of 1 for each critical result in the attack roll. And then after this attack is resolved, this character suffers 1 damage for each critical in the attack roll. He has an innate power called Titanium Armor. When this character would suffer damage from an enemy effect, reduce the amount suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1, and he also has Flight.
All right. So that's War Machine. That is the entirety of his card. He has 3 attacks and 2 innate powers, and that's it. All right, initially, this guy hits like a truck, but he has no way. Is the only way that he can spend power the spender empty the clip? That's the only thing he's got that he can spend power on. I guess he can spend power on tactics cards, but he has no other superpowers. He's just got attacks. Brad, you
Yeah.
always complain that I call on you last.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to talk? What is your thoughts here on War Machine?
So I actually played against War Machine recently in
Okay.
a shield list. And he did better than I thought he would. He's not like super hard to kill, but that damage reduction and 4 physical defense mattered. And both beam and rocket pods are great for hitting multiple characters. He was hitting, like, he moved and got to attack 2 of my characters multiple times that game. And that felt a little rough. Now, he did go down in that game and was the only model, I think, that went down in the game. But it was tougher to deal with than I thought he would be. He did
Okay.
to the point of you saying that he only has one thing to spend power on. That is, he was making that attack when he probably shouldn't have, because he had power and didn't know what to do with it. And he's like, I hope I don't roll a bunch of crits and kill myself before he rolled the dice. He didn't roll any crits.
That's on brand.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, that attack can be scary, but the drawback's too big. You can't do it. And so he just cannot spend his power on anything. And I think that's where he falls flat.
He has a really good place to spend his power.
Is it the
Not if Iron
Helios
Man's not in
laser
the game.
Oh.
If you're playing this model, you're playing Iron Man too.
Borka didn't.
He didn't play 4 or 3-point Iron Man?
Nope. There's no Iron Man in his list when we played. He had Hawkeye and War Machine in but no Iron Man.
Wow.
I've got more questions than I can get answers to.
I mean, if he could make War Machine work, if anyone's gonna make War Machine work, it's Borka. Hey, we didn't talk about games we've played recently. I just had that realization. Oh well.
Oh well.
Well, then they don't need to know everything. Steven, what are your thoughts here on War Machine?
He is very lucky that Black Widow, Agent of Shield exists, so he is not the worst model in Avengers. But he is next to last. Yes,
I think
Okay.
he's worse than Agent of Shield. I would much rather play her.
Debatable. I guess.
The only thing bad about her is that there are two other Black Widows that are better. But that's not the
That's
model's fault.
that's pretty bad though. I mean, we
If
got to take the whole meta into
if
affiliation.
if Black Widow Agent of Shield was White Widow instead and you could play her, I would. Like, wow, I never play Avengers or anything that would play her. But theoretically I would.
And he's also lucky that the original Human Torch exists, so he can be only the second worst model in Shield.
Okay,
So.
once again, I think he's worse than the original Human Torch because of the tactics card.
But as it goes, yeah, just he's got a lot of money and does know how to spend it. Is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Brandon, what are your thoughts here looking at War Machine?
He plays good in Shield as long as you're playing like the scenario based Shield, and he's really good in Sam Avengers.
Yeah.
But he does want to be paired up with Iron Man because it's basically almost a free 10 power for Helios laser.
Yeah, I think that you called out the thing that he does, and that is he's a battery for Helios laser.
Yeah, I mean, he gets to be that battery. Like he gets to be all his power gets to be on it. He always has the power to spin for like the Avengers based tactics cards. And he also, I mean, the damage reduction, like he's a hard 3-point model to kill. So he plays really well in Sam Avengers, especially with range 3 and 4 attacks. And if you play a scenario based shield, like he just stays around, and that's usually good enough. Otherwise, he doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. I feel like part of the issue here is that he's just kind of underwhelming. Mentally, like you don't think about him doing anything really fancy. He's just attacks. That's all he brings. He has damage reduction, but he's not that tough. Like he only has 10 total hit points.
Another thing about him, though, is that, we think of 3 threats as people that would hold a side objective or something like that. And his attack suite is not built for that. His attack suite is built for being up and getting 2 or 3 people at a time with rocket pods and metal storm. And that's where he doesn't want to be, because that's where the big boy beaters usually are.
Yeah. Yeah. It just there's so many ways in which I would just rather have a different 3 threat than this guy. He's just the most underwhelming 3 threat. He has an 8 dice attack for 4 power. But it's one that you'll end up killing yourself if you use it. That's the thing. You can't control the dice, and the dice could do you more damage than it does your opponent.
Worst part is if your opponent leaves you on 1 and you have 10 power and you have nowhere to spend it.
Yeah. 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 I think we're. Are there any tactics cards that are associated with War Machine? I don't think that
Yes,
there are.
yes, there is.
There is. Okay. What's it called?
The Air Force.
The Air Force. Okay. Um,
Unaffiliated reactive, War Machine, or Captain Marvel may spend 3 to play this card at the end of their activation. The active character's controller activates War Machine or Captain Marvel, whichever one did not play this card before their turn ends. It's husband and wife on a tactics card for 3 power.
are they married?
They dated.
Huh. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's the same rule as Proxima
Oh,
Midnight.
and Corvus Glaive.
And Corvus Glaive.
Except
Yeah,
it
I see.
costs a lot more power and it uses a tactics card.
Yeah, and you have to bring. This is only 4-point Captain Marvel, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and you have to have both 4-point Captain Marvel and War Machine in your list for this to matter. Yeah, this is not great. This is not. I mean, it is nice to be able to activate 2 models before your opponent can activate anything, but this is not great. I think that it is time. Oh, before we move on, I need to remember to do this. I always go too fast. War Machine is affiliated in Avengers and Shield. Those are his affiliations. Nothing else. Both of those have plenty of other people who are better than him. All right, let's give this guy a letter grade. I think that he is underwhelming to a T. He is a D model. I think he is a D. Down in the dumps. All right, Steven, what are your thoughts here on War Machine?
I'm going to give him a D plus just because his Metal Storm is a beam 3.
Yeah, that is good. Okay, Brad, what you got here on War Machine?
I think despite me sounding like I was giving him praise earlier, that him not having anything to spend his power on is just too bad. I think he's an F.
He's an F.
An F.
Oh wow. Okay, Brad's putting him down at the F's column. Brandon, what do you got here on War Machine?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think he's got some play. I think you can play him in both of his affiliations and not be miserable. Because he does complement some of the models that you're going to be playing with him. I'm not nearly as low as you guys. I have him at a C minus.
Okay. All right. Well, that's where we are with War Machine. Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature James Rhodes?
I do. So I have 2 recommendations today. The first is Iron Man Volume 1, 280 through 291. This is by Lynn Kaminsky and Kevin Hopgood. Tony is dying, but the world still needs protectors. He has built a suit better than any he's designed before, and after he dies, he leaves it and his company to Rhodey. So this is kind of the origin of War Machine as a superhero. And then the second one I have is the War Machine series from 2008 by Greg Pak and Leonardo Manco. Norman Osborn is in charge of Hammer, formerly S.H.I.E.L.D. Rhodey sets out against the government to do what he thinks is right, which sets him against some powerful enemies and changes his life forever. This is during the Dark Reign crossover for people who know Marvel. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that part of the issue here with this character is there's just a more interesting version of him, like that can do his power set. Who's a more interesting character and a better character on the table in MCP, and that is Iron Man. Like, this is just the Wish version of Iron Man. This is we've got Iron Man at home, and then the Iron Man at home is this guy. I like he's just
Fred's out here being rude.
I am. I'm sorry. I'm being rude. Brandon, do you have any affiliations where you think that this guy would work? Where you could splash this dude, then it would work better?
Unfortunately, not. He's. I think his best place is with like anything. If you want to play Iron Man, he's a really good complementary piece to Iron Man. Mostly because of the Helios laser interactions. But anywhere you really want to go wide, like he does have some survivability. But I mean, yeah, I mean he's not a great model, unfortunately. He's and his affiliations are getting to be one of them is the biggest, and the other one's growing rapidly. So he's unfortunately really phasing out in this game pretty quick.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are going to own him because that box is still good.
Wait, who else is in the box with him?
Sam.
And Captain America.
Wait, Captain. Oh,
Falcon.
Sam. Sam is what you said. Okay, I missed what Brandon said, and I was very confused. Yeah, you're right. It has one of the better leaders in this game in that box, and War Machine. I wonder if they're gonna errata him, kind of like they errata original Daredevil, and they turned original Daredevil from a character that nobody played and everyone had because he came in the box with Bullseye, and
the best glow up of all time. That box did.
That box had the best glow up of all time. You're right.
Well, the box was so bad.
I'd like to ask Brandon a question. Do you think War Machine is a serviceable 3-point potato in Kingpin?
No.
Okay.
If he was affiliated, yes, you would play him a lot if he was affiliated. Because he does have survivability and he can pay for all according to plan and like Shadow Organ stuff, but not being able to all the Criminal Syndicate tactics cards are Criminal Syndicate specific. So it's really hard to splash models that can't pay for them and then aren't doing something else. Like he's not as survivable as Lizard.
I was about to say if you're gonna splash
really
a potato,
the spot he would be in.
Yeah. If you're gonna splash a 3-point potato, you're gonna splash Lizard.
Yeah, but the more models that come out, the more that's an affiliation, especially that likes to strive on playing models in affiliation versus not because of mostly because of the tactics cards. Because if you play cards like Shadow Org on everybody but him, then he just gets obliterated.
Yeah.
Kind of accidentally. So.
All right. The only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. So this I have a funny one and then I have a real one. So the funny one is kind of a series of web videos. Don Cheadle, who played War Machine in I guess 2 out of 3 of the Iron Man movies, because there was I forget the name of the actor in the
Terrence Howard.
Yes. Don Cheadle was in a series of web videos where he's playing not Captain America, Captain Planet. And he is basically an insane character. They're all on YouTube, and I highly recommend watching them. It takes like 10 minutes to watch them all, and they are hysterically funny. Don Cheadle is very funny in those. That's kind of my funny one. My real one is I recently watched. It was streaming on Netflix at the time. I don't know if it is right now, but I recently watched L.A. Confidential again. This is a 1997 film noir set in like the 1950s L.A., and it is really top tier film noir movie. It is an unbelievably good movie showing just how bad things can get in Hollywood. It stars Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce, uh, Kim Basinger. It has James Cromwell in it. This movie is absolutely a stacked cast. It's fantastic. Highly recommend L.A. Confidential. And that is it for our show today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for listening to us prattle on about War Machine. And thank you for letting us prattle on about stuff that doesn't matter at all. Goodbye, and have a wonderful evening whenever you listen to this. Thank you. I gotta get out of... What happened to my endings? I used to be good at these.
No, you weren't, Fred.